welcome to the SRB round 5 of the championship. We're here today at the Croft circuit, here in Milton Keynes actually, but the Croft circuit is where these drivers will be racing today. We've got the Clio Cups up first for you this morning, and joining me in the commentary box today will be Sean King, and delighted to say he'll be alongside us. And Sean, what can we look forward to going into this race?
I think we can definitely look forward to a lot of close racing around this track, especially when we've got a very tight fight for the top 3 places in the championship at the moment. A lot of drafting as well after the chicane, but it's going to be an interesting race to say the least.
Absolutely, very close at the top of the championship, as we can see Luke Bennett and Christian Kelly. Just 11 points between them in the standings. Don't rule out third place man as well in John Curry, but it's all looking forward for a great day's racing really around the Croft circuit, and being that close in the championship, you know, there's only 2 rounds to go including this one, so it's going to be a pretty hot battle towards the end of the season.
It's going to be an extremely hot battle, and it's an advantage Christian Kelly this round at the moment for qualifying on pole in our first race. Bennett only in third though, so it's going to be pretty close.
Absolutely right. Well, should we take what sort of grid are we looking at from qualifying today then?
So first up on the grid, like I said earlier, we've got Christian Kelly qualifying on top with a time of 1:29.5. It's extremely rapid pace. I don't know about yourself, but I think I couldn't go that fast. John Curry in second and Luke Bennett in third, which is our top 3 in the championship. Looking out for some other smaller names that joined our championship this round, we've got Costas, who's joining us for this round. He's down in 11th, but a very quick, respectable lap time as well. And Ryan Purvis in 13th. Again, quite a fast lap time and doing quite well in his first time out here.
As you said, the 2 new boys come in just outside the top 10, but really of people watching for the first time, is it something that, you know, it's easy to get the grasp? You've got to do a lot of practice.
Yeah, you
need.
But
it's difficult to race at the top.
Yeah, it's not too difficult after a few times. I used to be at the back myself. Yeah. I used to be driving around at the back and not on the pace at all, and now I've won a race here before. I've come in the top 5 numerous times, and it's easy to get a hang of once you start coming down.
Of course. So, as well, we're just going to have to dive in and get ready for race 1 of today, followed by race 2. They've had a 30-minute qualifying, as we said. 2 races are usually lap sort of distance, 30 minutes or equivalent. So we'll look forward to seeing how those guys get on. 20 points for a win, of course, if you're just joining us for the first time as well. Be sure to like and subscribe and see more of this action over the course of the next month or so, with the final round coming at Brands Hatch once again. We better shoot to the commentary box.
See you in a bit.
Sorry about the pause, ladies and gentlemen. We're back for qualifying 2 here at Croft Circuit for Simply Race in Milton Keynes. And currently it is Curry on top from Sybil. There's a 4.5 gap or so between them. That's just narrowed down with Kelly slotting himself into second place. But we're expecting close lap times around here.
Extremely close lap times. Don't be surprised if there's only a couple of attempts between drivers, if a couple of attempts between quite a few of the drivers, maybe even down to the top 5.
Absolutely. What sort of challenges does this circuit pose up, Sean? It's not an easy circuit, quite tight. There's plenty of places to make overtaking, but you've got to know, it almost seems like the middle sector is maybe the most tricky part of the circuit.
Yeah, there's many, like you say, many overtaking parts on this track, but also tyre wear is always going to be a major thing in these Clios. We've had it all championship, and it's down to who's going to be able to manage them the most. The first couple of corners, you can really make those tyres squeal and get a really good lap time, but you'll suffer later on in the race, as we've seen from John Curry in the past, but hopefully he's taken that out of his game.
Absolutely. Now, qualifying 2 usually determines the race 2 grid, or is usually the format of race 2. I could be wrong in saying that. Yeah, it is race 2 format. So this is what they're all playing for here then. It is, as I say, Curry on top from Kelly. It's about 0.4 of a second between those 2. Sybil currently sat in 3rd place, Ben Brown in 4th. It's Farrow in 5th. Bennett is 6th at the moment. Not too strong as it stands, but there's plenty of time in qualifying 2, so I'm not sure he'll be too scared about that. Avram is 7th with Wilson 8th. Talbot and Cleaver round out the top 10.
And as we said earlier, if you look from second, even back to just as far as sixth, there's only a couple of tenths between them all. It's going to be like that throughout the entire racing, a big group of cars all trying to go for one small piece of tarmac. It's going to be exciting stuff, I think, and hopefully we'll see Bennett towards the front, so we've got our top three on the first three grids places as we start race 2.
Yeah, an improvement by Kelly there, actually drops his time by about 2.5 tenths of a second, drops himself into the 30.0s here, but people looking to try and break that 30 barrier, getting into the 29s, the high 29s it seems will be the order of the day today, but 1.5 tenths. Have you got a prediction of a pole time? Are we going to go for that? How quickly are we expecting these guys to go around here today?
To be 100% honest, I was extremely shocked because earlier in the first qualifying we had a 29.5 for pole, and I've not seen many people go sub 1:30 on this track.
Yeah.
It's extremely fast time. I would say look for the same sort of time again. You've really got to nail the lap though and get everything right. You can't get out of line at all.
Yeah, so we've just heard that Sybil has just been held up on his hot lap here, so I have to go again. As I say, there is time in this session, but it's not ideal when you're on a hot lap. You're pushing so hard, and you get that traffic in the way that doesn't necessarily need to be there. It's just the way the racing goes, very qualifying usually goes. It's a bit of a misfortune for him.
It's extreme misfortune, especially since these soft tyres, which they'll be using for the qualifying, only really give you 1 or 2 really good quick laps. So if that was his second lap on a flying lap, he'll have to dive into the pits and then try it all over again.
So in terms of tyres, we're talking about tyres a lot at the moment, but best guys to watch out for on their tyres. I mean, some are a bit more hard on their sleeve, as I said earlier. They're a bit more aggressive perhaps on their tyres. So is it really just playing the conservative game and hoping towards the end that you can have enough energy to really mount an attack going at the end of the race?
100%. Having been involved in the Alton Park race where there was a chain of 4 of us for most of the race, no one wanted to make a move in case they started cooking their tyres. At the end of it, that's when all the action starts to happen. The problem here is if you start pushing too hard at the start, you'll have nothing left at the end. As I say, John Curry is renowned, unfortunately. He's a very quick driver, but renowned for wearing his tyres so fast he has no pace at the end of the race.
So we're seeing Farrow going around there in green and pink and black Clio here, and he comes across the line. I'm not sure if he improved on his time. He's currently 5th fastest at the moment. It's not a bad effort from him. But Ben Brown has also moved up himself. He's moved just 4 tenths shy of the pole lap at the moment. He's 3rd on the grid, but as I say, it's always going to improve. He's actually got a bit of a toe here behind one of the cars. He will pull off into the pits though. He's 3rd on the road at the moment.
Yeah, and Ben Brown, we're extremely happy if he keeps that place, because I was down here with him practicing the other day and he wasn't happy with his pace at all. So to see himself that far up the grid, he'll be extremely pleased with himself.
Has it been maybe a consistency issue this season for Ben Brown? We were speaking earlier, was it something that perhaps he could be, Farrow going off, that's a big off. He's actually, has he lost the front? Well, no, he hasn't, it's just the way that the track's going along, but...
Did lose a bollard though.
did lose a bollard. And we were talking about that in the briefing as well. They're not the best things to hit, are they?
No, unlike real life where they flatten them quite easily, here they give a bit of resistance. They'll seem to stop you in your tracks.
Absolutely, and you don't want to be running over those because they may even get stuck in your car as well, just depending on how the game feels. So not ideal for them. Watching Kelly out there, orange and white and black car. He's currently sat 2nd at the moment. As I say, just 1 tenth between them, but it's just as Sean said earlier, it's nip and tuck really. You need to nail a lap around here in order to get that perfect opportunity for pole position.
It's also going to be a bit like Monza yesterday, but hopefully no dawdling about, because there's one section that's flat out for a lot part of it, and if you can get a toe down there, it really increases lap time by a couple of tenths. I'm guessing that's probably what Curry's done to get up there.
So is dirty air really in effect around this sort of circuit? Because there are a number of high-speed sort of corners. You take a lot of corners seemingly flat out or very much on the limit, just a small lift. So is it big on dirty air, this sort of?
Not so much in these Clios. You get quite a big draft, but the dirty air doesn't affect it too much. So there's no real aero package on the Clio. Yeah. You've seen how they're very box-type cars. But you do get a hole punched in the air, but you don't get held up going to corners. You won't spin out like you would in a rear-wheel drive car, let's say.
And faster lap time's just come in then from John Curry, moves himself even further ahead of the field now. 2.5 tenths of a second. It's a 29.7 for him, and that's a mighty effort. Still going strong then is Curry, and he's just lowered the bar even further, a 29.7. You were saying earlier on how some drivers were, well, you were shocked to see even 29.5s. I mean, 29.7. That's some effort.
It is a really good effort. I couldn't do it myself for sure, and I'm sure most people down here probably won't even get him 29s. He's the only one in it at the moment. He really must be in the zone at the moment and getting every corner perfect.
Absolutely. It's going to be some effort then to beat that at the moment. Curry going on himself and flat out through this right-hander. It seems very, very committed through here. To see if he can go even farther. Look how much he's using those tyres through there, really on the edge of that Clio. I'm sure I'll be screaming out through there.
I just hope he doesn't do the same thing in the race. I've not much left. I can see to the right of me a car on its roof. I'm sure Grant's trying to get us a replay. And Kelly goes fastest whilst I'm talking. That is some lap time.
Well, it is some lap time, isn't it? He's dropped it even further. It's a 29.6. We're going to watch a replay then of an incident that went on at turn 1. It's one of the positively racing cars. Oh, he's just... Who was that who's gone? He's gone straight over. And that's probably not the sort of impact he was hoping for in qualifying, but very, very weird accident.
I'd give that probably a 9 for style.
Yeah. Straight
over top, clean, no action hitting the barrier.
Absolutely, but look at that gap between those top two. It's just a tenth between them, or there and abouts. How are the new guys getting on at the moment? Not doing too badly, it seems. Sort of back end of the top 10 for one, I'm pretty sure, and just outside the top 10 the other. So there's good effort, but we were saying earlier, it's not the easiest championship to just rock up to, potentially. I mean, and just try and win. It's never going to be like that. You've got to practice so much.
Every championship's the same. You wouldn't expect someone to jump into any type of championship in the world and say, I'm going to win this race. It happens, and Christian Kelly's done it this year and Luke Bennett's done it this year. But the more you practice, the closer you get. These are the easiest championships I think you can join, but there's always that little bit extra that people know about. It's that experience, knowing I can go a bit earlier here, I can turn in a bit later, I can carry some more speed in here, and it takes time to learn those sort of things.
Absolutely. It's also just getting the techniques absolutely spot on. If these guys practice so regularly, it's just, they're going to be a lot better off. And this is the thing, just experience. Even coming here and racing on the rigs for the first time is a bit of an eye-opener, I should imagine, for some of these guys, although they've got their own rigs at home whenever they're practicing. I mean, in an environment like this where you've got all your rivals around you, some people aren't really used to that. They're often just sat by themselves and speaking to the mates online, and it never works like that. So it's a different environment altogether, isn't it?
And the other part of it is the setups here are all set by Simply Race. So when you come down here, you might be thinking at home you're quite fast. But these ones are all set exactly the same, and you all have the same bit of equipment to make it fair. And the more you come down and race each other, the more you learn people's different racecraft. You learn more racecraft yourself, unlike you probably wouldn't do against AI at home, or maybe just your friends that you know online, like you say. People here are probably going to surprise you with how fast they can go.
So, well, someone watching for the first time then, is it sort of regular for people to come down here maybe during the week or maybe prior to weeks beforehand, just practice those cars, practice the track, just get a feeling for what the car feels like around here with the setups provided by the organiser Simply Race? Yeah,
some people practice a lot more than others, but usually towards the last couple of weeks before a race round, you'll see them coming down here at the weekend or maybe a Friday night. They'll come down and have a quick practice session, see how fast they can go. They might even do a race stint, see how the tyres last. Obviously that helps you when you actually come and do the actual official race. It's not something you have to sink hours and hours into though. It's something you can come along and do the race at the weekend, but it's beneficial because if you're a part of this championship, you get a free practice session. So if you use it, you'll be prepared for the race.
Of course. And we're watching Kelly at the moment as he flies around just bottom of the circuit it seems, and sunny in, sunny out. I'm pretty sure that's where he is at the current moment, moving himself down towards the complex. This very difficult circuit to nail the final sector around here. It's very tight and twisty. Unlike maybe prior moments of the circuit, this is not the easiest part of the circuit.
Certainly not the easiest part of the circuit, and as you may well know, in rear-wheel drive cars and go-karts, you can get it to fire out the corners quite easily. In these things, you put the power down, they just won't turn. They just understeer like crazy. So you have to really get your lines right. So it's quite a late turn in and just carrying the speed through it and then putting your foot down. As soon as you put your foot down, it just goes, I'm not turning anymore. I won't do it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult sort of thing to get your head around, but understeer is quite difficult. Most drivers, I'm not sure, but it's just kind of your preference really if you prefer understeer or oversteer. You don't really see too many drivers who prefer prefer understeer, to be honest, but it's more the oversteer, the back end sliding out. But in a front wheel drive car, and Curry has just set the bar even lower again, and he's made 29.6. That's a fine effort from John Curry. 29.6. Oh, look at that. That is mighty toes, isn't it? It's half a tenth between the top two. And
that is
mighty
crazy
close.
pace.
I wonder if anyone else can get in the mix there. Half a tenth between
that
them.
is the end. I think that is the end. So he's put that laptop in right at the end of a session.
That's a mighty effort then to put himself on pole position for race 2, and Kelly starting right alongside him. That could be some battle to watch. Bennett only 5th on the grid. Now, he is the championship leader, and being 5th on the grid may be something that he doesn't really want to have to put himself through. You don't really want to be in the mid-pack going into turn 1 here, because it all has to concertina up eventually, and it goes into single file. It can be a bit of a mess.
Major mess it's been in our pass as well.
back to the grid then for race 1 of the CRBC Clio Cup round.
Sorry, I was distracted there because it said Robin Reliant on the stream. I'm pretty sure we're not in Robin Reliant.
That's an interesting one. Well, anyway, we're underway for the formation lap on around here, this Croft circuit. As we said in qualifying, very difficult circuit to nail a pole lap. We just witnessed qualifying 2, a very close session at that between the top 2, but it's going to be interesting to see how all these guys fare. As we said in qualifying as well, it's always sort of a bottleneck into turn 1, isn't it? Too many cars going for one bit of tarmac, and it's very tight down there.
It's always been the same when you've got a lot of pace in all these drivers, and they all want to be first in the first corner. We keep saying the same thing. It's not about the first corner. You can't win a race on the first lap.
Yeah.
And in the last round, we saw actually quite a lot of clean racing, and people kept their heads, and we had really exciting racing. So I'm hoping the same here at Croft.
Absolutely, and as you can see, 16 laps ahead of these drivers. Just looking then, Kelly on pole position. Then let's take you through a quick grid. Kelly on pole from John Curry in second. Luke Bennett starts from third on the grid. Ben Brown is fourth. It's a Sibbald in fifth. Chris Wilson is sixth, ahead of Colin Talbot, seventh on the grid. Giovanni Farrow is eighth, with Richard Cleaver in ninth. Derek Rudenberg rounds out the top 10. Kostas Avram starts from 11th. Rob Salton in 12th. It's Ryan Purvis in 13th. Andy Malpass in 14th. Dan Cook is at the back of the grid.
And Dan Cook is at the back of the grid because, if I remember correctly, he didn't make it in time for the first qualifying session. So he is right at the rear of the grid, but maybe we'll see him move forwards.
He's got some work to do then. Luke Bennett, the championship leader, starts from third, as we said. Christine Kelly on pole. John Curry in second place. So it's almighty close between those guys. 24 points between the top 3 in the championship as we line up on the grid, ready for race 1 here in the Clios. And it'll be interesting to just see how the launch goes for both these guys. It is a fair run down to turn 1. It's not the shortest of the calendar by any stretch. So it'll be interesting to see how the launch will fare for these guys.
We've also got picture-in-picture in the bottom corner on board with Cook at the rear of the grid, so you can see the whole grid pulling away and also how it looks from his point of view. Probably look very intimidating watching all these cars going to the first corner and trying to find a way through.
Absolutely. Hopefully everyone gets through turn 1 unscathed. As said by Sean, you can't win it at turn 1, you can certainly lose it at turn 1, and that is the crucial thing of any race as they all form up onto the grid. So it is Kelly from Curry on the front row. Rev notes are rising. And we are racing in Croft. It looks like a pretty good initial launch from the front row, and I think Curry may have just held off Kelly as they head down towards Kelly heading off Curry, I should say, going into turn 1. Looking very close between them. Curry, in fact, has got the lead. The side by side is going to get mighty close between them then. Through the first corner, who's going to yield between them? They made contact between the two of them, but surely they've got through okay, side by side still as they enter through the chicane. And it looks like Kelly has just got ahead of Curry, who's now under pressure from Bennett in behind, who really is getting a mighty toe down this back straight and towards the left-hander that follows. Nearly three-way, there's contact between two of them there. I couldn't quite make out who it is, but a bit of contact. Bennett's gone round, and that's the championship, one of the championship contenders, or what the championship leader, spun out there. Really big stuff then. Sibbald has moved himself into 4th place. Ben Brown has held himself into 3rd, but it's mighty close between those two, and Cook has moved from the back of the grid into 10th place.
It looked to me like that contact there, it looked Luke may have come across Ben Brown as they're going down the straight, and it's just unfortunately turned him round. It would be nice to see a replay to see what actually happened. It looks like there's quite a few close battles going on the track. We've also got Ben Brown trying to hold off the charging Sibbald from Positively Racing.
Absolutely, Sibbald has had a, you could say, pretty good start. But here's a replay of what just happened to Bennett then, the championship leader, who got taken out, looked like by, it's Ben Brown who's turned him around, but really he was looking for a bit of time. It may have never been there, trying to switch back on Curry, I believe that was, and he just couldn't quite get it done.
I don't really think Ben could have moved any further over. He was right at the edge of a track. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but we'll see if race direction sees anything of it or whether it's just a racing incident.
Well, there you go. There was lap 1 then. So it's Christian Kelly who leads from Curry in 2nd. Ben Brown is 3rd from Sibbald in 4th. Wilson is 5th at the moment. It's 6th for Talbot. Farrow is 7th. Avram, good start for him. He starts. He's now 8th. And Cook, who started, as we say, from the back of the grid, is up into the top 10. He starts 9th. He is the biggest winner, it seems, on the opening lap of this race. Cleaver has lost a position. He's in 10th. And Bennett, the biggest loser on the grid. He is down 8 positions, 11th at the moment.
becoming a very large group. I think of about 7 drivers at the front here now. In the last race at Oldham Park, we saw Kelly managing his tyres all through the race and backing everyone into each other, so that he could have tyres left at the end of the race. I'm sure he'll have the same sort of tactics.
Well, so the only lap 2 of a 16-lap race, and it wasn't the ideal lap for the championship leader. And as we keep saying, you'll now have to make a comeback charge through the field. But it is, as you say, it's a bit of staying quite close between everyone at the front. A bit of taking a fair bit of curb there was Curry in behind Kelly at the moment, and he's got a bit of pressure with Ben Brown just standing behind him.
Don't get me wrong, every single driver in this top 5, top 6, top 7 are all going to be under pressure, because if anyone makes a mistake and someone will go straight up the inside of you, even around the outside if they get the chance, they're not going to ask for a second invitation.
Absolutely. This is the one race, just a race in general, where if you're picking up points where the championship leader isn't currently, or is, but not really satisfactory, you could say, sort of points, it's that sort of race that can really make or break a season. In terms of how close we are towards the end. We're actually riding on board with, tell you that is, a determined one who can't quite get the move done through the first corner. It's Farrow looking for the move on Talbot into turn 1, couldn't quite get it done the same on that occasion. It's only half a second between the top 2, but look at 3rd and 4th, they're mighty close in the field. Then bumper to bumper, and he pulls out the inside there as Sybil, and he looks like he may just get the move done here, and Brown's going to have to be a little bit later on the brakes. Can he get the move done? Looks like he might just be able to on the right hander, just can't quite get it done. He's trying to hold it around the outside, and he still can't find a move done there, but good defending from Ben Brown, has to be said. Very
respectful from both drivers, gave each other just enough room to get around the corner together, and it was exciting racing.
Yeah, still nippers up between them though as they dart through the fast right hander. It's just not going his way for Sybil at the moment, just sitting in behind, and just maybe wise. He knows he's got time in this race. We're only on lap 3. He doesn't need to go for it if it's unnecessary, but it's getting mighty close still between those top the 3rd and 4th battle, the final podium spot. Brown then still holding off Sybil in 4th place.
It seems to have stretched out a little bit more now. We've got a bit of a gap forming between 5th and 6th between Wilson and Talbot. It's still not the end of the race yet. It's a long way to go. I'm sure there's going to be a mad dash at the end when we've got a bit of tyre left and we want to get the places.
Christian Kelly has just set the fastest lap of the race, 31.2, so some way off what we were in qualifying, but you've got to consider these guys aren't going to have the freedom. We're watching a replay then. Brown going a bit deep. That was earlier on. In fact, it may have just been come back here, so I think that is live. I wasn't pretty sure. There you go, Sybil still nip and tuck, and I think this time he may just get him on the outside. He's going to try again. Round the outside he goes into the long right-hander, still can't quite get the move done, but he's going to have to get the momentum, and the momentum may just see him get the move done. Not quite this, look at that, still side by side through there, it's flat out through there, and there's still so much trust between these drivers. And Brown has made contact with him, and Sybil into the barriers, and Brown into the barriers as well, so a possible podium for one of those two has gone up in smoke.
I was actually just about to say, this is bringing back haunting memories of Cripps last year alongside Curry. The same sort of thing happened going side by side through that section. It's flat out through there, up to 6th gear. Any slight touch and you go around, and that's exactly what we've just seen.
For a late move there. Cars towards the back of the field, I'm pretty sure. Couldn't quite get it done. Look at that gap now between those top 3. It's just opened out because of that collision. It's 2.5 seconds as Wilson behind leader of Christian Kelly, who's going the fastest lap and then got beat by John Curry at 30.8. So trading fastest laps at this stage.
This is exactly what John Curry would have wanted. He won't have to look in his mirrors anymore. He'll be able to focus completely on Kelly and trying to save his tyres so he can make a move at the end of the race.
It's insane just how those tyres are, and really the top 2 staying as they were. It's just going to be a case of whatever you can do, I can do better sort of thing. They've just got to sort of mirror each other out, it seems, at this stage of the race. Just keep the pace going. It's a good pace ahead of them, and it's all going very well for those top 2 so far. They've got to just keep that consistency in the front of the field on those tyres.
And just a small comment here on the stream from Anthony Jordan. Nice to see you, Anthony. Hello from Frankfurt, he says. Hope you're having a nice time over there and enjoying the racing.
Absolutely, and wherever you're watching, don't forget to just give the channel a quick like and subscribe as well, to see more action in the Clios and later on more action in the touring cars as this race weekend unfolds around the Croft circuit. A move being made there, go very deep, one of the Podsy racing cars that is, I believe. It's going well off the road, and he's in the right hand corner of your screens, and they're rejoining the track in safe fashion.
I believe that was Cleaver, because Bennett's made a place up now. He's into 10th after that disastrous start. Just a quick shout out here to Kostas Avram. He's up into 6th now. It's his first drive in this championship, and that's a really good result if he can keep it there.
Yeah, respectable. He's got some pressure behind the Sybil, who of course had the slight off with Brown, and Farrow's actually gone and set the fastest lap. He's 4th at the moment, and that could be because he may just have that slight toe from Wilson ahead of him. He's at 30.2. That's somewhat faster than Wilson ahead of him. That's about 0.7 of a second faster than him, but it's not all that close between them. There's a bit of clean air for Farrow. He's just got to get on with it then and see if he can close up to Wilson ahead of him.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Farrow's got a nice clear track in front of him, and he can see that 3rd place, and everyone wants a podium racing. If not 1st place, you want to be on that podium, just so you can say I was there. And I think Chris is going to have to start defending pretty shortly, but the gap to 2nd doesn't look that big still.
It doesn't. It also seems quite similar, the gaps between really all these guys towards the front. That it's just the best lap time for Curry is at 30.8 at this stage of the race. It's, he's slightly faster than the leader. That may be because of the toe, but he just can't find a place to get a move done. You have to be ambitious around it, and you've got to trust the driver ahead of you if you're going for an overtake.
Yeah, and there's 2 different types of racing you can class it as: offensive driving and defensive driving. Obviously, you're looking at John to try and be the offender in this case, to try and get past, and Christian will just be putting his car in the perfect spot to stop him getting past.
So you see the bottom right hand corner, the Guess is getting quite close with another car. I think he may just get switched up here. It's Sybil and Avram going side by side through there, and I think Sybil has just got the pace on it. They're going to be wheel to wheel, banging door to door through the final corner, and now it's going to be a drag race towards turn 1.
Sybil's got the inside line for the first corner if he can keep the pace up.
Yeah, he's just got to get his nose in and hopefully get that little bit later on the brakes, doesn't he? I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it on this occasion. He'll go for it anyway, and he just about avoids.
I think he backed out just enough there to stop contact, which is well done by him.
Getting mighty close between them. It's not over yet though, is it?
Definitely not. And Ben Brown's sensing that he can get back onto the back of Sybil and do a reenactment of earlier without the contact, hopefully.
Hopefully, for his sake and for everyone watching's case as well, sake as well. But safe high drive from Avram. It's sat just in there, and he's just been passed actually. Up the inside goes Sybil, moves himself into 6th place.
Wilson now is catching up with Curry, and he's bringing Farrow along for the ride. This could be a 4-way battle by the end of the race. We're not even halfway through yet. This is going to be extremely exciting finish by the looks of things.
Absolutely, it's one of those races that I always describe as almost like a cycle race. There's always the pace setter out front, and everyone sort of slots in because the teams in behind. Eventually that pace setter will swap, and there'll be a different group that just bands away from that pack, and we'll see what is able to achieve here by the top 4. There's a set getting mighty close at the moment. There's a real opportunity here for the likes of Wilson, for the likes of Farrow, to really sense an opportunity to perhaps even go on to win this race.
I'm going to give a big shout out here to Colin Talbot. He is frustrating drivers right now. I think the gap behind is probably because he's one of the best defensive drivers we've got down at Simply Race. He's done the most laps ever down at Simply Race. And he knows where to put the car. He's so hard to get past.
Action going on further ahead of him. We're right on board with Sybil, who's just sat in behind Talbot at the moment, I believe that is. He's just keeping very close indeed with him. I'm not sure he's going to get the momentum to force an opportunity just yet, but I'm sure the next couple of laps we'll see him past. He may even go for it down the inside. No, thinks better of it. Talbot goes very aggressive to cut him off at the apex there, and does very well to hold him his 5th race.
Well, he may have compromised his exit, but no, Colin's getting away quite well from that corner as well, so he hasn't lost too much time. And in the main picture, you can also see that Farrow is really putting the pressure on Chris Wilson now.
He is. He's just trying to force him into an error at this stage. Can he hustle and harry him? We're about half distance here between, here at Croft. It's just so close then for the final podium spot, and also the possibility of a race win here for Kelly or Curry. It's getting close between them. The gap has opened out a little bit between the top two. It's about a second now. It's not been that sort of margin this race. It's been in and around half a second or so. So really good. And there's a move then. I think he's got him, has he? It looks like he has. Farrow's on the inside. They're going to go wheel to wheel again, down towards turn one. Wilson has the inside line, should have the advantage, should even have the line, but a bit of ambitious braking could see Farrow fly past him here. Not sure on this occasion. Wilson holds his nerve and holds third place for now, or gets into holds third place for now.
Yeah, these drivers are showing a lot of respect to each other on this track. There's only a small error will actually cause a crash like we saw earlier between Sibbald and Ben Brown. They gave each other a lot of respect and they trusted each other, but that tiny bit of contact causes a problem. But these drivers are probably the best ones you're going to see around this track, and they will always give us a good show.
Absolutely. They're now starting to drop away from the top two. They got mighty close to them, but now there's squabbling going on between them. They're just losing time, and well, it's now looking more like a battle for the final podium spot as opposed to the race win.
It's probably those mental games going on. Chris has probably thought, oh no, I'm being caught, I have to be a bit more defensive, which is stopping him being as attacking on his lines. He's not going out quite as wide and sweeping the corners now. He's keeping quite tight to ensure no one throws it down the inside of him at the last minute. It's actually affecting his chances of actually getting a top two, but I'm sure he'll be happy if he can keep his third place.
So this has got to be possibly one of the big moments in terms of the tyre saving window. We're halfway through the race, or thereabouts, and you know the battles are starting. The field's spread out now. We've got an idea of where everyone is, but it's all about managing those tyres from this stage on, surely.
100%, and also for the drivers in the car, they're in their pods, they'll be able to see how much wear they've got.
Look at that. That's one of the Positively Racing cars going for it. I can't quite tell who it is. It's Sibbald against Talbot once again. There'll be a run down towards Tarmac. Look how far to the inside he's got, trying to defend against that Positively Racing car. Can he find a way around the outside on this occasion? They're bumper to bumper again. He's going to have to yield under braking. Surely looking for the switchback then is Sibbald. He can't quite get the move done on this occasion. Contact between them into the tyre wall, and Brian Brown was so lucky not to get caught up in that. Made a really great evasive move to get out of the way of those two who made contact.
I'm sure the race director will take a look at that. I'm not 100% sure whether he was squeezed into the barriers there, but unfortunately for Sibbald, I'm sure he thought he had the pace to get past. He was being severely frustrated by Colin for a number of laps.
Absolutely. An update on the championship leader Ben. He's moved himself into 8th place now, so he is riding nicely at the back end of the top 10. He's got a couple of seconds to Cook out in front of him. That is Dan Cook just in front of him, who's 7th, and he's had maybe a very eventful race himself. And it's all kicking off as well, because it's 8 places, now 9 places. Cleaver has dropped down a position, and Ben Brown's gone in the second sector with Talbot, it seems. Coming together between those two, we'll hopefully get to see that for ourselves.
Oh, he's lost it himself by the looks of it.
Ben Brown looks like, yeah, he has just lost it himself. We'll watch the replay now then. So Ben Brown coming through that flight right-hander, and he just loses the back end of the car, gone straight into the barrier there. And he looked like he was making a bit of a charge, and that's not going to help his charge at all, is it?
It almost looked like a bit of lift-off oversteer. Maybe he carried too much speed coming through, or thought he was going to hit Colin and backed off, and then realised too late it was a big mistake.
Absolutely. It's not a common error, to be fair. You don't often see that sort of thing happening, especially when the car veers completely to the other side. Maybe he's trying to overcorrect it.
Talbot's dropping down as well now. Yeah, it seems that Talbot may have got a penalty for his instant contact with Sibbald earlier. He's dropped into the pits and dropped down to 13th, 14th, maybe even last. Yeah, last now. It's a shame for Colin.
Yeah, it was maybe a bit ambitious to look for the opportunity there for Talbot to defend even more, but it's just, yeah, now it's a race ruined. 5 or so laps to go then, and the top two as close as they have been throughout this race between Kelly and John Curry, and it's mighty close to say between them. As I say, just a good shout out to Cook though, up 10 positions from where he started on the grid. He started at the back of the grid. That's a great drive.
I mean, he has benefited from instants on track, but to be fair to him, he's kept out of those instants. He's kept his nose clear, and he's made his way right up the grid.
It's not about getting in the incidents, it's if you can avoid them is the best protocol in racing, and certainly doing that. And Curry, once again, just sizing up opportunity. There's a side-by-side action between the two Positively Racing cars, I believe that is. it's Cook and Cleaver going side by side, and this time, as we praise Cook, he's lost a position to Cleaver then, who's now got ahead of him. You've got to watch Avram in behind here, in the green car, the green Clio. He's not too far behind, not sizing up an opportunity for himself just yet, but those two Positively Racing cars going right at it again through the final corner and down towards turn 1.
Of course, behind Avram, you've got your championship leader, Luke Bennett, again trying to recover as many points as possible in this championship. He'll see those three as targets to try and get some points back. He hasn't had the best of rounds so far, but if he can make a few more positions, it will at least limit the amount of damage.
Absolutely. For the likes of the guys ahead of him, though, well, especially the guy ahead of him, Avram, who, whether he's been following the championship or not, may not know that Bennett is leading it. And that may be just a sigh of relief for him, maybe not even thinking about, well, I'm just going to race you as hard as everybody else. So he's going to go for it. And Avram now looking for an opportunity himself, looked like, on the back of Cook in front of him, who, after making so many positions, seemingly losing all some positions now, as Avram looks to the inside, looks like he might just get the move done here in the bright green car, and he looks like he has done. It's a great little move from him, and he's moved himself up into 6th place.
Very well done from Avram. It may be his first race in this championship, but he doesn't look out of place at all. He's got some good racecraft about him. He knows what he's doing. Hopefully we'll see him back for the last round of a championship as well.
It's one of those things, you never undermine drivers who have just joined a championship like this, because it's one of those, they may actually be very, very good, and seemingly he is very good, is Avram, doing a fine job at that. You just can never underestimate these sort of drivers.
Definitely not. I mean, this may be his first actual championship. I don't know. He might have done it at home before, but so as you said earlier, he's a complete unknown entity. No one knows what he's like. They don't know his pace. The same, as you said earlier, with Luke Bennett. He doesn't know who he is. Doesn't matter if he's a championship leader. He could be closing him down, and he'll probably be thinking, Luke probably thinking, let me past, I'm faster. But he's like, well, I'm fast. I'm not going to let you past.
It's not even a namesake thing, is it? So if you're the faster car, you're the faster car. They're not going to think about that. They're just going to go out there, race as hard as they can. I'll give full credit to Avram for the way that he's performed today. Just a brilliant little drive from him, in up 5 positions from where he started on the grid. So a decent qualifying, but really has shown his worth in the race. Although he's been helped out by incidents, you know, as we said earlier, got to keep it on the black stuff. That's the most important thing.
Saying that, we just see Cook coming out of the corner onto the grass as well. So he obviously wasn't listening too close to your commentary there.
Yeah, bit of a commentary curse there. I promise I won't try and do that throughout today. But I can't, I'll say promise, I won't promise anything. We never know what's going to happen in racing. And second, between the top 2, contact between is
Wilson and Farrow, that is, for 3rd place. There's a bit of a gap for the first front 2 now. It looks like Kelly's pulled the gap a little bit more to try and give himself a bit of a cushion, but Wilson and Farrow look like they're going to go down to the line. Not sure about tyre wear, whether Wilson cooked it trying to close the gap earlier.
It may be one of those famously ambitious moves into the hairpin and a drag race to the line. We often see it around the Croft circuit. It may not be too dissimilar here between those two, but a podium spot up for grabs between Wilson and Farrow. And as you see there, Farrow is just a 30.2, his fastest lap of the race. And Ben Brown's gone off the circuit again, and it looks like his own misfortune again. Losing it under braking, it seems, this time, but we'll get a replay on that for you, just so you can have a look and see for yourselves what you make of it. But here is the replay of the Ben Brown incident, seemingly losing under braking. Look at that, again, maybe just overcorrecting himself again.
It seems very similar to the first crash, doesn't it? It's going one way and then going the other. Like you say, overcorrection and just sending it straight into the barriers. I feel for Ben, because, like I say, he qualified quite well, and in practice he wasn't too happy with his pace, but he was doing quite well throughout the race. He just hasn't had no luck at all in this one.
Absolutely, and we can see there that the top 2 really haven't been split by too much in terms of best lap they've had so far. It's 1.5 seconds now, so it looks like Curry's tyres are starting to just fade away that little bit more. Kelly's managed to maintain his tyre wear throughout this end stint, it seems. The end part of this race, we've got 2 laps to go here, and Kelly maybe have just made a dash, knows that his tyres are in still good nick, and may just feel he needs to get that slight gap on him.
It looks like Bennett is under pressure from Rudenberg now, so he could lose even more points in this race if he drops another position. He's really not what he wants in this race at all.
So you're not on Rudenberg. Let's see what he can do against the championship leader, Luke Bennett. It's close between them, but maybe not on this occasion for Rudenberg. He's going to have to, maybe he could try himself into the complex here. That may be the opportunity he's got. He's going to switch him up though, look at that. And then dive down the inside through the left-hander, and Rudenberg just can't quite get the move done on Bennett, who holds his nerve, holds the defensive line. It's a good bit of defensive driving.
Carried a lot of speed through that corner and just wiped his nose for him, just to make him know, no, I'm still here. There's no way you're going to get an easy pass from me.
Slight nudge through the final corner then between those two. Maybe Bennett went a little bit too deep on the brakes, but that was maybe just to open the corner out, to get that line, to get the momentum down the straight.
Would have definitely compromised Rudenberg speaking out the last corner as well. They would have had to back off after we touched him, so we'll have to build again and try and get past him again after this long straight.
Absolutely, the gap sort of opened out a little bit between those two now. Maybe a final lap lunge for one of those, well, for it maybe seeming the Rudenberg behind them. And as I say, the leaders have sort of stretched their legs then. Wilson and Farrow maybe embracing the battle. Actually, here comes Rudenberg. He's on the inside, it seems, and maybe the outside for the next corner. Can he get the move done on this occasion? Maybe he couldn't just quite do it. He's maybe trying to switch bump. No, he's going right around the outside of the championship leader. That's a tremendous move from Rudenberg, and he's moved himself into 9th place, albeit 9th place. It's a fantastic overtake.
Yeah, take it nothing away. It doesn't matter what position you're in this championship. Everyone's going to fight for every point, and that is one of the best moves you're going to see around Croft today, I'm sure.
Bennett's still keeping his nose in there. Can he just force the issue again? He's trying to get a move done on Rudenberg again, just to make sure he's not losing too many points in this championship fight. And as we say, these are so crucial for him at this stage of the season, that he isn't having performances like this, or the off performance like this, because it can cost you dear.
There's a big gap opened up between Kelly and Curry now. It's over 2 seconds, and last lap Kelly was actually almost a second faster than John Curry. So maybe those tyres are coming into play, or maybe Kelly kept some powder dry in reserve.
Absolutely. And we've moved into the final lap of the race then. As you said, Kelly moving is stretching his advantage even further, but Wilson has also stretched his advantage over Farrow. That gap was very, very close. They were nipping up there, bumper to bumper almost for the majority of this race, and it's now opened out. Wilson seemingly has the podium spots for himself. We've seen instances this race of those, so I'm not going to try and cut another thing for a driver today, but at the moment it's looking good for Wilson. It's looking even better though for Christian Kelly out front, doing a fine job. The pole man, they're actually going side by side. That's Bennett versus Bennett versus Rudenberg again.
It's Sybil this time.
Well, Sybil this time, is it? And
he's going to lose another place if he carries on like this.
Absolutely, Sybil on the outside of him. They're going to go wheel to wheel once again, and actually loses the position as Bennett, and drops outside the top 10 now.
Absolute disaster for the championship leader. He'll be losing his championship lead for sure after this one.
Well, here comes Christian Kelly then around the final corner, and he is going to win the opening race here in Croft, and wins in some style as well. Led from start to finish and didn't really look back from there. The pole man wins, and Curry finishes in second, and Chris Wilson will come across the line to finish in 3rd place, and a well-earned podium against Farrow there, who put up a stern test for him, but he managed to pass with flying colours in the end. It's 3rd and 4th for those two. Ben Brown will come through for...
I'm not sure Ben is actually in 5th.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be a bit ambitious perhaps.
I'm sure it's Cleaver that came in 5th, and Costas Avram came home in 7th. Bangkok in 8th, Rudenberg 9th, Sybil in 10th, and Bennett in 11th place.
Absolutely, and missing out on some, well, big championship points there, and it's going to close it up all over again in the championship, because Christian Kelly was only 11 points back going into this race. I'm sure that would have been made up, possibly, or very close to being made up, with the deficit he lost here today, race 1 at least.
I'm sure he'll be very angry, possibly with himself after the first contact, and maybe with other drivers later on the race, but hopefully he can gather himself and have a good race 2.
Absolutely, and that was race 1. We had some great racing action there between all those guys. We're going to get, hopefully, a couple of guys in for an interview perhaps as well, so stay tuned for that, as that will follow in just a few moments' time. It's Christian Kelly who wins from Curry in second. Well, so we've got Christian Kelly with us here, then the winner of race 1. And how did you find it? It was a tough race for you out there, under pressure for a lot of it. Just managing those tyres must have been the most crucial thing.
That was the whole point of the race, pretty much, is to manage your tyres. I can't really say much more. It was tough. It was certainly tough. John's always pursuing, and I know that one little accident or one little mistake or one running wide and he'll get me. So it was a cause for concentration.
So it was unfortunate for championship rival Luke Bennett in race 1 today. You're only finishing 11th in the end. So big points made up in the championship, and with so little time remaining, that's a big step.
Yeah, but it's rubbish to hear that Luke's had a bad one, to be honest, and any of the competitors. Every time there's an incident or anything, it's always a bit of a shame. For me, there's still Brands Hatch, so, there's only 6 rounds in this championship. We've still got a whole significant percentage left. I'm not going to work it out now. So I just take everyone as it comes, to drop a football cliche. Absolutely,
and may just go down right to the wire. And as I say, it opened out a bit. The pressure that you were finding from second place man in the end of Curry, that can't have been easy to maintain that pressure for that sort of duration of the race and still managing your tyres as well. It's one of those sort of awkward moments for a driver, isn't it?
There's a balance to strike, and I realise I'm sat at a computer doing this, so in real life it must be a lot worse. So for me, look, don't make mistakes, keep it tidy, and in every interview continue the racing cliches, because that's what I seem to do. But that's just what you have to do,
Absolutely, yeah. Well, congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Good luck for race 2.
Cheers, appreciate it.
Right, so we're getting John Curry in then, second place man. Didn't quite get the race win that he was maybe hoping for. And will join us in the commentary booth right now. So it was John Curry. Good to see you. Right, so second place today, and as I was just speaking with Christian, very much a race of managing your tyres, it seemed, but it didn't quite work out for you today.
Yeah, I made a better start than he did, and then we were side by side through the first couple of corners, and I could sort of see he wasn't going to back out of it, and I knew we were coming to the neck in the funnel through the chicane, and I thought, it's the first lap, I banned the throttle and let him go at that point. And then I knew from Milton Park that his normal race tactic is to go quite slowly for the first few laps, and this time, rather than sort of doing my tyres and trying to overtake him, I just sort of was happy to follow him, really. And then at about half distance he pulled the pin, and we both sort of disappeared into the distance a bit. And I think once we started pushing, he was probably still using less tyre than I was, and then it got to a point where about 2 laps to go, he was about 8 tenths ahead, and I sort of realised that I tried to keep close enough to him to capitalise on any mistakes, but really I knew I didn't have enough pace to be able to probably make a pass on him. So I had a massive margin behind, so I just brought it home.
Of course, so as well, just saying to Christian himself as well, so it was almost the balancing act in this race of when you could push and when you obviously had to maintain those tyres. So you say with the 8/10 gap, you're just thinking at that point, okay, well, maybe need to maintain a bit more. So
yep.
What is that like, the sort of balancing act? It's a difficult one to do as a driver. Was there any stage in the race where you thought, right, I'm just going to go now, I need to go for it?
Well, I think most of this season, more so than last year. Last year you could push and you had to keep a little bit of an eye on the tyres, but generally speaking, it wasn't a massive factor. Whereas this year, I found all season it's been a huge issue. And for me, anyway, I've tended to be probably a bit harder on my tyres than most when pushing. So I knew from Milton Park where, for the first sort of 6 to 8 laps, it was the same deal where Christian was leading and I was behind. And that time I was sort of thinking, why is he so slow? I should be able to get past him. And this time I sort of learned my lesson from that and sort of knew what his tactic was going to be. And you have to keep a little bit of an eye on the mirrors, but I could see they were all sort of fighting behind. And I knew from qualifying that the two of us had plenty of pace on everybody else. So once Christian pulled the pin at about half distance, we immediately gapped the rest by probably about a second a lap. So, but it is tricky because you feel Clio should be just flat out from the word go, and it's a real exercise in time management a lot of the time.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the runner-up spot. I always say all commiserations because you always want the win, but second place will do, I suppose. But well done and best of luck for race 2.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Right, we'll get Chris Wilson in then for third place, the final man on the roster. And we had a bit of his work cut out with Farah in the end, but managing to get that podium spot that he was looking for. Chris, well done. Good race. Third in the end today, but helped maybe by incidents at the start.
Yeah. You know, the start of Croft, you always want to get through the first few turns nice and clean. Managed that, and I joked before the race that I was just going to try and sit there and hope people fell off, but I didn't think it was actually going to happen. And yeah, there's a few incidents ahead. Cleared the way to give me a run to catch up to the front two, and it just kind of went on from there a bit, really.
Absolutely. And as I said, most of this race you were sort of under pressure, it seemed, from Farrow behind you, and you know, again, the pressure building up. You had to manage your tyres as well, because it is a big tyre saving sort of circuit. So how was that, just fending him off for that many laps and then managing to pull away in the end? So you've done a good job there.
Yeah, I could see how quick he caught us up. He probably had an edge on pace on me. So I was going to just try and hold my line, because the way this track's laid out, if you try and defend to the inside, you leave yourself vulnerable for the next turn. I mean, there was a couple of moments he did try lunging it, and we banged doors a bit, but thankfully we both got away with it. So, you know, you can forgive and forget on that. But yeah, I think towards the end, I think he must have just run out of tyres a little bit, and I had just enough left just to get the drive out of the corners to create enough of a gap that he couldn't come at me at the next turn.
Absolutely. So what are you finding is the biggest challenges of the Croft circuit then? It's not the easiest circuit, but as you say, on the tyres, but as a circuit in general, hardest sort of points that drivers are looking at, really? I
think it's technically classed as turn 6. After you go right and through the chicane, that next right-hander, you think you want to turn in a bit earlier, but if you turn in too early, there's an awful curb there. It throws you out in that whole fast back section. You're just in the firing line for whoever's behind you. And then by the time you get to Sunny In, as I saw with Farrow, if he's lined you up, they'll just have a go. It's so easy to lose speed, especially in a car that slow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the podium in the end, and best
you.
of luck for race 2.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
So after a pretty tremendous race 1, we're looking ahead then to race 2, and looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. And it's a pole man of John Curry on pole position for that one, so we'll see how he fares in the race in race 2. But join us for then, that will come up in a few moments' time.
Welcome back for the second race of the Clio Cup Championship. There's only a short break between the two. I'll do a quick rundown through the grid until James makes his way back to us, and I'll start off by saying that John Crow is a very fast lap time, puts himself on pole just in front of Kelly, the front two from the first race, followed by Ben Brown, who had a lot of incidents. He did turn out, he did actually finish the race in 5th place. What happened to him is his wheel failed, and Mike, the owner here, sorted it out for him and put him back out on track at the right place, and he ended up finishing 5th, so well done to him. Sybil in 4th, Bennett, after the disaster of race 1, is in 5th, Farrow in 6th, Clevo is a positively racing teammate in 7th, Camsport pairing of Chris Wilson in 8th and Talbot in 9th. Costas in 10th after his very good performance in his first race, and talking to him after the first race, he wants to come back and do even more, which is great news. Rudenberg in 11th, Sultan in 12th, Brian Pervez in 13th, Malpass in 14th, and again Cook in last as he didn't get many qualifying laps in. And that is the order we've got today.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to a 16-lap race then, ahead of these guys. Once again, it's going to be some action then. It's John Curry on pole alongside Christian Kelly. Just the reversed way that the last race finished. And Bennett in 5th. Well, he's got to hopefully make some points up in this after what has been, to begin with, you've got to say, a disastrous sort of start.
Definitely a disaster start for him. I wasn't in here for the interviews. I'm sure Christian was grinning from ear to ear after winning that race and knowing that Bennett was in 11th. He wouldn't be happy that it wasn't the close race he wanted, but he'll be happy with the points haul for definite.
Christian was saying after the race that really is like, it's not great to see your championship rival fall away like that, but it's one of those things. But he's managing to pick points up, humble in winning the race, which is always great to see. But I think someone's actually spun it on formation now. Maybe I was just saying that wrong. But was I wrong to say that? No, maybe I was wrong. Totally wrong. Anyway, we're lining up on the grid then ahead of race 2 and the final chance for these guys to see what they are able to achieve in this race. And as we say, it's Curry from pole, Kelly alongside him. It's a good chance for him down into the first corner. It's a bit of a run, but we will see what happens then. Spin out information. It was one of the Positively Racing cars. It was Farrow, and look at him now. He's only just got into his grid slot of 6th place. That's an embarrassing moment. Fernando Alonso moment from European Grand Prix back in 2009, of course. We'll see how these guys fare. Curry on pole, Kelly alongside. The rev notes are rising, and we are racing again. And it's a really good start from Bennett then from 5th on the grid. He's starting from the 3rd row. He's already trying to challenge Curry then into the first corner. And look at Kelly. He's got a good run on Curry then. Into the first corner we go. Bennett slots himself into 3rd place after an absolute lightning start. And Curry is slotting himself into the lead ahead of Kelly. And Bennett's trying to go round the outside of Kelly. Needs to make sure that he does make contact like that again. And he's going to have to go wheel to wheel with him. No, he's just had to back out on this occasion through the chicane. But a very, very good launch from Luke Bennett. And contact behind as one of the Positively Racing cars off in the background. And I think it could have been Cleaver there, who's dropped right to the back of the field. Yeah,
it looked like contact between Chris Wilson and Cleaver at the time coming out of the chicane. It's always hard to get through there with this amount of cars all pushing for the same bit of tarmac. We'll hope that Cleaver can rejoin and get back on the pace.
Absolutely, and a replay then of what happened for Cleaver, and he just got touched there by Wilson, a man who finished on the podium last race, and not the impact he was hoping for on race 2. But it is Curry who leads from Kelly and Bennett up in 3rd place. Sybil in 4th. Brown's had a good start. He was 5th in the last round. He's now 5th again in this one, it seems, but maybe not for too long. Let's see what Bennett can do as he heads right up behind Kelly on the 2nd lap of the, still the opening lap of this race.
Curry's tactics needs to be completely different to Kelly's, where he wanted to save his tyres for the entire race. Curry wants to get away, I think, and try and get a big gap. It might be the way to go, so he's not fighting with everyone the entire race.
As we said last round, if you push too hard too soon, you're going to be one of these cars that, although very close to begin with, you're going to fall off the face of the cliff come the end of the race. And something that Bennett maybe needs to keep in mind going forward. He's a lot more experienced than I am, of course, but I'm sure he'll be thinking about that himself. He's 3rd at the moment and just holding off and trying to attack. Very, very difficult position to be in. He's 3rd at the moment. Can he find a way past Kelly? It's going to be close between these two, I feel, for a long time in this race.
And we have a group of 4 breaking out the pack with another 2 just trying to close that gap. Give us a big group of 6. As Bennett pulls out alongside Kelly, is he going to go for the move around the outside?
Yes, he may just try and get him under braking gear. It's going to be ambitious, going to be late from Bennett, but he may just get it done. He's going to be right off the road, onto the grass, in fact, trying to get the move done. He's that committed against his rivals here that he is taking at absolute extremities to get the move done on Kelly here. And again, he's trying around the outside. It's a fast section. He's made contact with him, and there's more contact in this race and in this weekend. And unfortunately for Bennett, this time he's made contact with another car, but he's come off better. And it's just falling down the field now is Christian Kelly.
Yeah, he was completely backwards in the barrier there. It would have been quite difficult to get himself restarting back on. I'm sure the race director will have a look at it and see who was at fault at the time. Of course, he's lost the race to Sybil, so he hasn't actually gained a place.
Take us through this then. What just happened here?
it's a hard call to make for the race director, because Bennett was committed to his line 100%.
I mean, there also the way you've got to look at things, the way the corner is, you sort of have to, it's the way you're going so flat that you're almost bumping across the road in order to get the car onto the other side. So that's almost physics for you as opposed to just racecraft. But Bennett, I'm not sure what he could do there. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Who will play devil's advocate in that? The race director will play devil's advocate in that. And currently Bennett is third at the moment.
If it was Michael, I would probably say something along the lines of a racing incident. It looked like he was committed to his line. He was going around the outside, and Kelly just washed out a little bit wide into him. He didn't want to back out, obviously, because he would have lost his run, but it's ended in tears.
So out of all this, Ben Brown's moved himself into fourth, and Sybil moves himself into second place. And good performance so far then for him at the moment. Quite a big sort of scrap going on in the midfield Remans. Behind this sort of top 5 or so, there's a few cars going. One is Avram, and he had a really good start to race 1. And as he said in the formation app, wants to come back and wants to do more races, it seems.
It seems he's got the pace to do it as well, back up into 6th. He started in 10th spot, so he's already gained 4 places on this race. I know there was contact, but he's obviously gained some of those places himself. And it looks like he's going to up the pace for this race.
Absolutely right. And look at Bennett now hassling the back of Sibbald into the hairpin in the final corner. Maybe not close enough on this occasion, but staying right on the rear wing of Sibbald in the Positively Racing car, and see what he's able to achieve. John Curry goes fastest again, a 29.9 in the race pace. That is crazy quick from John Curry.
Off of his pole lap. A couple of tenths. That is ridiculous pace from John Curry.
Very, very quick indeed. I'm running on lap 4 now of this race, but just to do that in race trim is something quite unbelievable.
Yeah, these are medium tyres, remember, not even the soft tyres, so he won't even get the benefit of the tyres. Replay coming up. This looks like Malpass.
Oh, he's gone over.
Is that Cleaver?
I think it may have.
Yeah, it's Cleaver, and he's right on his roof. Unfortunate for Malpass. I'm not sure whether it was him leaning on Cleaver, to be honest.
He won't be going very fast, very quickly, upside down, that's for certain. But Bennett, as I say, still just holding his nerve against Sibbald in front of him. It's going to have to be some fine defensive driving for the Positively Racing car, and Bennett in behind is just close between them. It was like this at the start of the last race as well, very close, and all of a sudden the gap started to emerge where the tyres are being used so hard, so quickly.
Yeah, 100%. In our picture, we're on board with Kelly now. It seems like a carbon copy of race 1 with just Kelly and Bennett reversed. Kelly's now trying to fight his way back through the grid like Bennett was last time, and Bennett's pushing for the top 3 places. And the main advantage here is to John Curry. He may be in third, but he'll be closing the gap to both of them in the championship after this round.
Race-winning pedigrees, Christian. We saw that in the opening round of this race as the yellow flag in sector 2 of the circuit, but actually it all seemingly looks like that the second and third are just giving the leader Curry something to think about here. They're not dropping. He hasn't dropped these guys yet. It's still a good fight ready for these top 3, and Bennett is involved in that and right up behind them as well. It could really kick off here.
I'm sure Bennett will be perfectly happy to see that Sybil is closing down Curry. He won't be able to make any silly moves this early in the race. He knows he can still win them. Earlier on this season, we've seen him come from third place to win the race within a couple of laps left at the end, and he does save his tyres if he can.
Absolutely. The leader then looks on the rails, on the ropes, looks a bit under pressure here from Sybil, who's really just giving him the knockout blows and may even go for the heavy knockout punch here, because he's looking for the overtake on the leader of Curry. Can he quite get the move done? I'm not too sure on this occasion. Maybe not, but look how close it is. Bumper to bumper now. And he's actually trying to force the issue on the inside. Thinks better of it into the fast right-hander, but watch Bennett in behind. This is where Sybil, as a driver, is in a really, really vulnerable position, because he's got to defend and he's got to attack as well. It's the most horrible part of racing, I'd say, this.
Certainly is, and it puts you in two minds, like, do I defend this corner and lose out on a chance at first, or do I attack first and risk being overtaken, and maybe even a block pass, which really sets you back, and then you have Ben Brown all over the back of you as well in a few laps' time, most likely.
Oh, he's gone for the move, and it looks like he's taken the lead of it. Yes, he has, and it's a mistake from Curry into the final corner, and Bennett's now got the advantage on him as well on the run down the pit straight, and that's a very uncharacteristic error, you could say, from Curry, losing out positions there with a slight, perhaps, lock-up into the final corner.
Possibly. It looked like he was still trying to take the wide line and carry the speed through the exit, but I think he just left the door open far too wide, and like you say, maybe locked up a little bit. And no second invitation needed in this class. If you open the door, someone's going through it. As we see Kelly now onto the back of Cook, thinks better of it into the first corner as well.
Absolutely, the Positively Racing cars in all sorts of action everywhere you look in this race at the moment, but it is now Sibbald who leads then from Bennett, and Curry, after seeing that immense lap of a 29.9 in race trim on medium tyres, is now, well, third place and maybe needs to push on again, see what he can do. But again, Brown and Farrow aren't exactly far behind in this group, are they?
They are fighting with each other, which will probably please John Curry quite a bit, because he knows that whilst they're fighting, they won't have the ultimate pace.
Look at the leaders. Bennett trying to absolutely committed through that right-hander. Can he quite get the move on him? Not on this occasion, but again, he's sizing it up. He looks aggressive in this race. It feels like he looks aggressive, does Luke Bennett.
Feels like he's got a point to prove maybe after what happened in the first race. He wants to nail it home that I am the championship leader coming into this round. I can win races as long as the race plays out as it should, in his mind, I'm sure. But again, I still don't think he'll push that half of the overtake if he thinks that they've both got the pace to gap at the front and maybe go for it in the last couple of laps.
Absolutely, and of course no pit stops in this, as we know. It's all about saving those tyres we've been talking about, but for Bennett now, maybe we're getting into that point again where we've got to be looking at tyres. They've got to think about, okay, do I push now and maybe try to bridge the gap, or hold off a bit and push again towards later in the race? It's one of those balancing acts that is so difficult to manage in any race, let alone this one.
It certainly is. Obviously, once you're behind someone, you're saving your tyres a little bit more, you're not overheating them as much. But if you're like Luke here, trying to force moves every corner, you're going to be cooking those tyres.
Look at that, Bennett on the outside again, and a lot of people have tried to make the overtake on the outside here. Bennett was one of them, and he can't quite get the move done on this particular lap. Just stays in second place then. He is just trying to hassle and harry the back of that Positively Racing car. Just can't find a way through at this stage of the race. Does look like he's got the pace advantage, but just can't find the place to make the overtake. May go for it here though on the inside wall. Need to make contact with the race leader, does Bennett. But that was getting mighty close between them on a flat out part of the circuit. Maybe not a place to go for an overtake.
It's a very ambitious move. It's not something you would usually see happen. He did look like he had the pace, but the door was closing very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. That door shut firm in the face would maybe even lose you points in the championship in this race as well. And Bennett, once again, just right on the back of him. If they go for the deep line, they're looking to lose or just gain that momentum. And everything on this occasion sticks to the inside, sticks to the curb, and gets through it cleanly as well. But the top, it's now a top five we're looking at, really. No one is bridging and no one's pulling away from these guys. It's about 3 seconds between the top five. That's good. That's very, very close.
And obviously after the top five, it's a very, very close race. And after top five, you've got Kostas Avram in sixth, and he's doing good pace, but not as good as the leaders. And he looks like he's in his own little world at the moment. He's got a gap behind him and a gap in front of him. And he'll be extremely happy that he stayed out of trouble, I'm sure.
Absolutely. It's about a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds to the guy behind it for Avram at the moment against Rudenberg. But at the moment, as you say, holding his sixth place quite nicely then. Now Bennett trying the switch back on the Positively Racing car. And I'm not sure he's going to get it on this occasion, and doesn't. But trying everything he can, every technique in the racing book to try and get past him here. And he just can't find a way through. This will be a good, big result for Luke Bennett in his championship fight as well. And it's side-by-side action down, as you can see on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Bennett's looking for the inside as well. There's action going on everywhere. Bennett can't quite get the move done. There's a bit of contact between the two of them. And actually, I think he may have just got away with that. Sibbald then still defending his lead against Bennett, who's just about holding him off. But there's racing in behind as well, side by side. Goes, they're right off the grass, and there's contact. And is he going to get away with it? Oh, my goodness me, that was close. On the bottom right-hand side of the picture there. How they got away with that, I'm not too sure.
He didn't get away with it in the end. He's was in the barriers the second time today. He stays in 12, so he hasn't lost any positions, but he'll be thinking, after all that effort in the first race, it's all been wasted in race 2.
Absolutely, it was all kicking off all at the same time there. Farrow actually looks like he's got ahead of Brown as well, or maybe that's just the same way. I can't quite remember, I'm not sure.
He's got in front of him for definite. We've obviously missed out all the action going on at other places. Just in front of them, obviously, you've got the racing between Sibbald and Bennett. The action between Berbers, Cook and Kelly at the time, and he probably slipped through under the radar.
Absolutely, that's most likely what's happened there. With so much action in these races, you can never pick out one particular moment, I suppose. And Bennett again trying the same overtake he tried on the previous lap, and he's just not getting the momentum, is he, off the exit of the corner? Maybe trying to go for the ambitious move. through the right-hander, and I'm not sure he's going to get it on this occasion either. So still in behind, still bumper to bumper. We're on lap 9 of 16 then, and Bennett is now trying to force the issue on the inside. And this will be a brave overtaking to get it done. He can't quite on this occasion, but they are very, very committed, and Bennett especially looking right on the limit.
He's been trying that move for a number of laps. I feel like he may need to try and think of somewhere else to overtake, because he's shown his hand a few times to Civil down, and Civil's always had an answer. Unless he can put out something special, it might need to be done at another corner of the track.
Yeah, he keeps rolling the dice. He's coming out black at the moment. He needs it to come out red, and he's just not able. And then into the final hairpin. Listen, look, he's on the outside here. He's then going to have to try the switchback once again. But it's a place again where he can't get a move done. Maybe he should have gone a little bit deeper there just to get that momentum, that better drive off the corner perhaps, and get the one down in towards turn 1.
Yeah, and with all this going on, Curry needs to start checking his mirrors, because Farrow's definitely catching him.
Farrow looks pretty close. Bennett's also on the inside then into the first corner. Can't quite get the move done on this occasion. And really, really keeping it all close together at the moment. I think Curry's just stayed ahead of Farrow on this particular lap, but it's all kicking off then for the race lead and for the final podium spot.
I will say that we've got Kenneth on the YouTube stream. Thanks for saying we've got good commentary, and also a shout out to Bennett. So you've got someone cheering you on, Luke. Make sure you get this move done. We won't be too happy if you don't.
Absolutely. Right, and appreciate the comments coming in, as you say. Keep your comments flying in. We're always happy to give them a quick shout out, as it were, but there's so much action going on the track, you can sometimes never even notice them. We'll see what happens, though, between Bennett and Sibbald with just 6 laps to go in this one. We're well past the half-distance mark now, and Bennett, again, still hassling and harrying the back of that Positively Racing car, but cannot find that move.
The tyres, like we said earlier in the first race, are probably being quite cooked quite heavily at the moment, especially with the obvious action going on between Luke and Sibbald. Probably more with Bennett at the moment, as he's been trying to make shapes with that car, which I didn't think was possible in a Clio, to be honest with you. But he's got something special, Bennett has, and it's shown in how he's turned at the championship and always pushed for the front of every race. And we'll see if he can make that move in the last 5 laps of this race.
Although I think this will be the part of the race where we start to see people, you'll start to notice people dropping away because of their tyres. And I actually think I almost looked like Farrow was getting rather close to Curry ahead of him. He still is. We're riding on board with him in the bottom right-hand side, I'm pretty sure. We are indeed. He just can't find a move just yet, but you're on that onboard shot. It's a great shot to see just how committed they can be through some of these corners. Flat out, it seems. You won't even see the brake lights go on.
It sounds to be a little bit nerdy, but it looks a bit like a creeper from Minecraft. But it's a very nice livery altogether. Maybe Farrell will put pressure on Curry and get that podium place he couldn't get in the first run.
They usually come out and explode on you, so I'm not sure that's what we want on this occasion. We'll see what Bennett's able to, as I keep saying. Bennett is just so frustrating to watch, really, because you feel like he's going to just go for it at some point. Maybe just lunge and just play your cards right again. He's just got to go for it, you feel now.
Yeah, but again, he does have a smart head for someone at quite a young age. He knows that after what happened in the first race, it could be so easy to lose all those points all over again. Is it better to risk going first against someone who's 4th in the championship, or to settle for second, realising that your main rival is down in 12th and your other rival is in 3rd behind you? As long as you're gaining points on them, maybe it is better net. No doubt in my mind he will make a move, no doubt, but he'll play it smart.
Just got to be calculated about when you make the move, I suppose, as well. We haven't taken you through the order for a while, so let's do that. So Sibbald leads from Bennett, Curry is 3rd, and that's the battle we've really been watching out in this whole race. Farrow is 4th, with Brown still sat in 5th place. He's been there for some time in this race. Avram is 6th, and as we said, sort of still in his own little world. He's actually pulled away significantly to Talbot then. There's about 4 seconds between those two, it seems, at the moment. Wilson, the race winner of race 1, is currently 8th place. Rudenberg is 9th, Cook is 10th. 11th is Purvis, 12th is Kelly, the winner. I got that wrong. Wilson finished on the podium and Kelly won the race. My apologies. Sawson is 13th, Malpass is 14th, and Cleaver is 15th on the track.
Again, another shout out to Avram there. He's come to the championship this first time here, and I think he's get 2 6th places. That's really not bad against this sort of competition. When you're looking around you and you've got the person in 2nd behind your championship, a couple of Positively Racing guys behind him we all know are very fast, then you're doing quite well.
For someone like Avram coming in, it's the final couple of rounds of the series, and him being, challenging for these good points, that's going to lead him possibly in a good stead if he does decide to go on and do next season.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be happy to see him back. I might even race myself to see if I can race race against him because it's nice to have some good competition. But there'll be people, if they want to come to the last round of the championship, it's hard to get a seat nowadays. It's very hard, but we're more than welcome into new drivers, and it's really fun for us to race against people we haven't raced before as well.
Simply Race now providing a lot more series than they have done with the touring cars later on today. We've got the Clio Cups today, the DTM series has just been announced as well. We've got the Endurance series as well. I'm sure there's another one that I'm forgetting
there's
as well.
Formula series as well, which is running alongside the DTM series too, which is going to be really interesting.
Absolutely. So plenty of opportunities for people to get involved here at Simply Racing, get involved in some championship action, and I'm sure you really will be loving life once you do races like this. Being in a championship series against people who've got the same passion as you are is just a fantastic feeling, and let's see how it all fares out for them.
Just jumping in, I think Curry's closed the gap down to Bennett now. He's coming back on. Maybe he saved his tyres and he's actually thinking, I'm going to push at the end of this race and see what I can do.
Is this where it's going to hurt Bennett then? Because he may have just pushed, as we were saying earlier on, maybe pushing a bit too hard too soon on those tyres. And he is losing a bit of time to Sybil ahead of him. Is he now finally feeling the consequences of that tyre wear? It's first and second at the moment, and Curry third with Farrow in fourth place.
In fact, Curry was faster than the two leaders by almost half a second last lap. So it's showing that he's going to be a lot faster.
He's going to get closer then towards the end of this one, and Farrow just needs to keep the pressure on Curry ahead of him. Maybe he's used his tyres a little bit too fast as well, but look how close his top five are. That's crazy how close they are at the moment. Brown just sitting as an innocent bystander at the back. He could really gain from all of this. If carnage unfolds, that we have seen in this race, and we have seen in the last race as well, he's got a really good opportunity here.
A bit of a dark horse in this race. He's kept himself quiet. Haven't seen him going sideways, making any desperate moves, but he's just been carefully watching the situation. As we see here, picture in picture of the two Cam Sport drivers. They may be from the same team, but in this sprint race championship, no love lost between everybody. They're all good friends, but they're close rivals as well.
Absolutely. Never really thinking about how good mates you are when you're on circuit. You're always thinking about who's going to finish best, because that's the one that everyone likes to see and the one that everyone likes to brag about as well. But yeah, as you say, it's Talbot ahead of Wilson at the moment. That's a battle for 7th place in this race, and the top five still closing in on each other. Curry is starting to close in on Bennett a little bit more. Sybil has been able to have that bit of breathing space now. He's got about a second between them, although a lot of people would say that's a close margin of racing. It is, but in these races it doesn't seem that.
A couple of attempts is more than you want in this Clio racing, and just looking at the lap times again, Curry and Simpson are identical lap times, but Bennett was 0.3 of a second slower, so maybe he has cooked his tyres all those attempted overtakes earlier in the race.
All those audacious manoeuvres from him really working, and Curry's now right on the back of him, and you've got to watch Farrow in behind as well, because he's got a great opportunity to slingshot round the outside of Curry then through the long left-hander. As he got the move done, he's going to have the inside for the next corner, and Farrow has taken position here, but got off the road and into the tyre wall, straight into the tyre wall. The one place he didn't want to put that car was there, and as a result, as I said, Ben Brown has made out for all of that and moved himself into 3rd place, and he's gained once again as Ben Brown. Good racing from, well, not great racing, it was close, wasn't maybe fair, some people could say, but very close between them.
Yeah, so Ben, the dark horse, has now put himself in position to possibly take second, dying last couple of laps of this race, should I say.
Rudenberg and Wilson going side by side down towards turn 1 as well, and Wilson looks like the man who finished on the podium last time isn't maybe going to get into the top 9 here. He's under severe pressure, it seemed, from Rudenberg, and actually sort of broken away a little bit through the first corner, and now we're seeing Ben Brown go round the outside of Bennett then through the long right-hander, and what a fantastic move that is from Ben Brown into 2nd place. Tremendous overtake.
I'm almost completely certain now that Bennett doesn't have any tyre left to answer with. To be able to go around the outside of someone that easily tells me that Luke's having struggles getting out of the corners. And I'm not going to say Ben's going to get the win now, because he's got almost a 2-second gap to close down to get to Sybil, but what a race from him.
Now we're on lap 15 of 16, and 2 laps ago, or even a lap ago, Ben Brown was 5th place. He's now 2nd, right on the rostrum, and he's trying to sense the opportunity to try and pounce on the leader if a mistake occurs here. Because there is still an opportunity, but there's not much time to go. Ben Brown's gone off the road again. He's not, you're right, he's definitely not got any tyres left now, has he?
Yeah, Bennett touching the grass, Brown breathing a sigh of relief, and only mirrors. Again, I'm going to keep an eye on the campsite battle you said about this. contact.
That was Chris Wilson and Rudenberg getting into blows there. Nearly made contact again.
Shouting going on in the venue, obviously not very happy with that situation. But I was about to say that it looked like Talbot was just playing his defensive game and holding Wilson up every lap, making sure that his car was in the perfect position, and Wilson was getting frustrated, which opened the door for Rudenberg almost every lap. And now we've had contact, unfortunately. It's a shame the race had to end that way for those two.
Watch Bennett again now. He's still, again, he's under severe pressure from Curry behind him, and he's right on the bumper of him. And can Curry force the move here on Bennett? He was looking for a move, this time on the outside. It looks like he's going to try the switchback move. Can't, looks like on this occasion, get the move done. You can just see it in the background, the bright yellow and black car against the white, orange and black car of Curry there. And let's see if he can get a move done. Can John Curry find a way through and pass Luke Bennett on circuit here? It's going to be mighty close between them, but I'm not sure he may be able to get the final podium spot. Well, if you want it, it's there for the taking. He's just got to be ambitious then, you feel, into the final few corners, through the complex they're coming towards now. It's going to be a last corner overtake, isn't it?
It looks like that way. He hasn't got enough speed to go around the outside here. They're coming to a very tight part of the circuit. He's going to set himself up so he gets a nice exit. As we see Sybil coming towards the last corner, it looks like he's got this race in the bag.
Yeah, tremendous drive. Ben Brown was getting very, very close in the end, but Curry looking on the inside. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Then can Bennett get the exit? He can get the exit. I think that's led him in good stead. He's managed to finish on the podium after his tyre issues maybe towards the end of that race. He's managed to come through to finish on the podium, and that's some big, big points for him in this championship.
That was very hard fought for Bennett. He really struggled at the end of that race, and a big shout out for Brown for coming in second after staying quite quiet throughout the entire race. Avram coming home in sixth again, another solid result in his debut to this championship. We look forward to seeing him back.
Absolutely, you've got Avram in sixth, Talbot seventh, Cook eighth with Chris Wilson trying to finish on podium in ninth, and Rudenberg rounds out the top 10. Race winner Kelly last time around, Christian Kelly, finishes 11th, dropped 9 positions in the end from where he started. Purvis is 12th. Sawson is coming around the final couple of corners now. He finishes, he will finish hopefully in 13th place. Malpass in 14th, and Cleaver had his incidences at the start. He is 15th and last of the runners in this race.
What an interesting race we saw. Unfortunate having all that contact going on, but it was enjoyable. I hope you enjoyed it. So just seeing again from Kenneth, checking in from the East Coast in the USA. I hope you're all okay over there. I don't know what time it is when you're where you are, but thanks for checking in so early for us. Yeah, very early morning. So thanks for dropping by. Tell your friends about us as well if you want. It's interesting for all of us. Well done again to Sybil, Brown and Bennett for our podium. Hopefully we'll have interviews with them very shortly. So, Ed, welcome back to the podium positions. How was that race for you?
That was tough. That was a lot of tyre consuming, like trying to save the tyres basically. As soon as I got past Curry, it was all about making sure no one got past me and just doing what I could to save my tyres till the last.
Because your defence was so strong against Bennett. He kept trying around Sonny in and out.
I know, it had to be. He's such a good racer, and it's kind of hard. The places he was catching up is the hardest part kind of to overtake. On that fast right towards the end of the lap, I kind of had him through there, so I was happy with that.
I think you definitely benefited there. He seemed to have cooked his tyres and he dropped back at the end of the race.
He did, yeah, that's it. I knew that him trying to keep coming past me was just going to do his tyres worse than mine.
Was it always your game plan? Was it get to the front, keep the pace what you wanted, and then just stick with it?
That's exactly it. Because I saw that Kelly was doing that in the first race as well. Both of those two, they were kind of holding back. So, yeah, it was just saving, make sure I had enough for the last couple of laps, and the last couple of laps was just going home, to be honest.
I'm not sure where it puts you in the championship, but you were fourth coming into this one, and a win will probably set you back into maybe third. I know John got second. But
yeah, well, I know, because I think it's me and Brown are kind of going for the third place, so, and he came second, so it's just all right.
Yeah, and he came
but that's all right, yeah, no, I'm just happy for a win. And can I just say, happy first anniversary to my wife, who's actually let me come out today, which is massive, because I didn't think I was going to be allowed.
That is huge.
Yeah, and I didn't even look at the dates when I was signing up. Oh, no. And I only clocked it a couple of weeks ago, so yeah, so thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. We got a very interesting race, thanks to you.
Exactly, yeah, so I'll dedicate the win to her.
Oh, yes, lovely touch. I'm sure that's the best anniversary present she's going to
get.
No,
it better not be on it for a sake.
No, thank you very much, Ed, and look forward to your next round.
Yes, me too. Cheers. Thank you. Cheers.
And runner-up in the second race today is Ben Brown. That's a very good race, Ben. I called you a dark horse throughout the entire thing, but you stole through in the last couple of laps. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was really good. Had to do some avoiding action pretty early on, and then getting dive bombed at the last corner. So by that point, I was back in fifth, so I was just like, well, I'll just follow them round, give them a gap, just save the tyres till the end. And then thankfully, they all ran out of tyres, or ran into each other. So it's just about being in the right place at the right time, unfortunately.
So it was all part of the plan then. You were saving your tyres for it, and I must admit, if you see in the background Grant bashing things on the floor, it's because we've got a slight technical issue and he's trying to fix it for us. So we're currently sharing mic like a pop band duet. It's going quite well. Yeah, it must have been part of your plan just to save the tyres and then push towards the end, but I bet you were glad about all the action in front of you.
Yeah, it was only my plan after I lost fourth. Like, because I'm fairly decent on the tyres anyway, I'll just keep on pushing as we go on. But then the second that I lost fourth, just being a little bit lax with the inside, I was just like, well, I'll just hold on to the tyres, see if I can hold on to them and just save it till the end and then pull off. The one round the outside of Luke was nice, but I know he had no tyres left by that point. So
it still looked very impressive on the stream, and I almost said, maybe you can catch first after this.
I said to Ed it was one more lap. He had no tyres and I had still some.
You looked extremely comfortable out there. I think it puts you in good stead for third in the championship. With Civil finishing in front of you, it's kind of bad, but it's still going to be close on the last round, isn't it?
Yeah, I think John, because he did well in the first race as well. But we'll keep on going to the last race. I like Brands; it's my favourite track. So, as we know from the start of the season, so let's see if we can do something around there. Hopefully, can.
I hope we can too, and I'll see you next round at the Brands Hatch race.
Yep, looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
So now we have Luke, who finishes in third. It seemed like he had a bit of tyre wear issues at the end, but after the first race, this must feel great to finish on the podium.
Yeah, I mean, I had a bit of contact on the first lap. It did slow me down a bit, but not too much. And then towards the end of the race, I think I had about 2 laps when I was on 0% of tyres. So I had to let Ben through, just in case there was an accident. And then Curry got right up close to me. So I was defending for my life on the last lap. I managed to keep it just about.
It was a great defence on that last corner. You could have. He tried to turn it tight and didn't get the drive, and you, with no tyres left, getting that drive out of that last corner was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I went a bit deep because I went defensive, and then no tyres, no braking power, and then went out wide, and I'm surprised that he didn't get the cutback.
Yeah, I think it's actually brought the championship title really close together now with your poor result in the first one, and now Kelly with a bad result in this race as well. It pulls them all really close together, and Curry now thinks maybe I've got a shot.
Yeah, I mean, next race with Brand's GP, it's one of my favourite tracks, so I'm hoping that I'm going to do well.
Hopefully you'll qualify on pole and do really well. We look forward to seeing you back there, Luke, for definite. So
thank you.
Thanks for coming. So, thank you for watching all of our interviews. We're just going to have a short break, and then we're going to go to the podium to see all of our drivers. Thanks very much.
So, just going to do a quick presentation for our top 3 drivers on points. Real close racing. Some people are going to be happy, some people aren't. Unfortunately, it is Clio's, and they are hard work sometimes when you are racing so close together. So, finishing with 26 points today, taking bottom step on the podium, Edward Sibbald. So, Ed there looking quite shocked. Taking second place on the podium, finishing with 28 points, was Ben Brown. But taking top step on the podium was John Curry. So our top 3, just going to take a quick picture, gentlemen. Okay, thank you very much to our top 3 there. Well done to everyone taking part in the Clio Cup for round 5. Don't forget, round 6 is on the first week of October. We'll be back with the touring car round next up. So thanks for watching back there, and stay tuned for the next round.